SA Riverland Farming with Ollie's. Yes, it is that time of year. Look at all these gorgeous tomatoes coming in, and cucumbers are in the background too. I have so many now, it's time to make relish, and I thought you might like to have a little bit of a step-by-step instruction and guides on how we make relish here and how we also enjoy it in so many things. So here we go. I've actually pre-weighed a lot of the tomatoes. I've got 1, 2, 3 sets of 2 pounds of tomatoes over here, and over here I have 1, 2, which will actually go in this very big pot here to make relish. And now the fun part, of course, are the onions. Who wants to cut onions? I need to cut about 8 pounds of onions. Everyone here will help, of course, but onions make you cry. I don't feel like crying today. Well, as I was saying earlier, I've weighed out a lot of the tomatoes. There's a few here and over there, and I've got a whole box behind me to do probably tonight. I'll have to do it in 2 lots. I don't have enough pans. So I'm going to start weighing the onions and start cutting the onions. Paul's going to come and help in a sec, and he's going to cut some tomatoes. They're a little bit kinder on the eyes. And yeah, as more children wake up, they will help. Which normally we do it in the evening. I like to actually do relish in the evening because it needs to sit for 12 hours once you've cut the onions and tomatoes to get rid of the excess water. So, but we've been really busy, and the tomatoes came at the same time. So it's turned out that this morning we all cut everything, and tonight I'll actually cook the relish. And at the same time, I'll probably get all of us together and cut the next lot for like preparation, and then tomorrow we'll actually cook some more. So that's the plan. Let's see if it actually happens. I'm crying cutting onions, and look who's back. Where have you been? Oh, and how was your ride? It was good, was it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We went down. Finn may have nearly done a gallon. Yeah, no, because we went down with him.
So they were still out while you went for your ride?
Yeah, so we went on the second track, and that's where they get stirred up.
Oh, yeah.
So we ran off without them.
Yeah.
That's always warms them up.
Yeah.
So they came up,
Yeah.
and we finally got them down the hill so we could go down the hill.
Yeah.
Me up to the other hill. And then we ran back, and they could only go back. And then back there, they ran when we were raining, and then we stopped to head back, and then they come after us.
Oh, really? Yeah.
We did want them to get stirred up.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Watching them run around really fast, chasing Nala.
Yeah, that is a bit of fun, isn't it?
Nala doesn't really like to canter very much.
I don't know, maybe she's just quieter than the others. Do you know what we're doing?
Making relish.
Yeah, so how about you have some brekkie and then we'll all work together.
Don't do the more. Yeah, I know what I do. I mean, like, you'll just help me be quick.
No, that hasn't been much actually. I don't think. Oh well. So we're back. We've sorted Paul out. He did cut his finger out, but it's okay. He's got goggles on.
I have glass.
Should I stop the onions from making his eyes watery? So here I am. I've got. I'll just turn it around. So here are the onions that I've been cutting out. 2 pounds of onions. 4 pound over there for the big pan that they're going to go into. So now I tip this way into our Thermomix, and I will cut that nice and fine, nice and quick, and harder on the eyes. So here's just a sec. Here's a pan here with the onion and the tomato. Now we need to put on salt, and the salt helps to get the water out of this. That's why we're going to let it sit for, it's supposed to be 12 hours. Forgive me for the tears. The onions are making me very sad. So I'll put the salt on, and we're going to put it aside till tonight. So here's a little sneak peek at the garden where these scrumptious tomatoes have actually come from. You'll see behind me here I've actually pulled out the sunflowers, broccoli, and those few little other lettuces that were growing out. They had already gone to seed and finished flowering, so I pulled them all out and I've put some cucumbers in. They should be growing quite well, and we needed some more. So hopefully we'll get a good crop of those by the time the summer season finishes and autumn comes in, and I'll show you the tomatoes. So the tomatoes extend from way down there to the north and come all the way along, all the way down here to the south. To the south here, I've got more cherry tomatoes growing in Romans. We've got black Russians. If you haven't tried them, they're a really, really yummy cherry tomato. I've never had them before, and I don't really like tomatoes in their own, but they're really yummy. So yeah, along here you can see some more tomatoes coming along. Look at them there. Been busy staking them, so I've actually damaged the plants a little bit just to get them up. We've got Romas over here. There's some Romas growing through there. And further over, and I'll just show you, where are they? Some ox hearts growing as well. Where were they? I think they're just down through here. You can see some ox hearts growing snuggled away down in there. And the cherry tomato plants that are just growing so well all the time. I've got so many. They just produce so much, it just astounds me. They're growing along there. So yeah, most of the tomatoes I picked for the relish actually came down this end here and along this back end. They were the first series of tomatoes that I actually planted. So yeah, so they've already had their big first pick. And then Sunny's calling for me. And then these tomatoes just up here were the second lot I planted about 2 months later, I think. And they're not quite ready for their first crop yet. They're still quite green, as you can see in here. Still green, still growing down and through there. So yeah, so that's where all the tomatoes have come from and where the garden's at the moment. So it's the end of the day now and ready to start cooking the relish. As you can see, the relish is here behind me. And looking at it, you can see there's water pooling in each of the pans. So I'm about to strain it, and then I'll put them back in here and add the necessary ingredients to then start making it. So here we go. Some of you might be wondering why I'm not making tomato sauce with this. I'm not one who likes to stand at the stove for any longer than I have to. I've always been busy as well, busy with a lot of children and children close together, so I found it hard to, I guess in some ways not hard to make the time for it, but I knew there was an easier option. So, and I find the relish is much more versatile than tomato sauce. So I decided that when I have tomatoes, this relish is the one I make, and then I also make pasta sauce, but not tomato sauce. So that's just the way I run and do things, and we enjoy raw sauce as well. So I thought, well, I love homemade things. But I need to pick and choose a little bit of what I do make and what we buy. So for me, relish is the thing. We'll buy sauce, but I just use relish in so much that it was just a lot more practical to use and to make and to do, and well worth the time put into it, and takes about half the amount of time what it does to make tomato sauce. So to me, that's a big win-win. So I squished all the water out. You can see, well, hopefully you can see that it's just the tomatoes and onions now. They're on the stove, ready to be turned on, and now it's time to add in the extra stuff. My tablespoon ready, my jug for measuring, vinegar, mustard, and curry, and sugar as well. I'll check the secret recipe book just to make sure that's it. Oh, I could add a dash of cayenne pepper. I might do that later on. Yeah, a dash of cayenne, give it a bit of spice. So anyway, I'll get that out in a sec. So I'm going to measure these things and place them in the pans, and then I'll turn it on. And then we need to wait for it to come to the boil, and then it's left to simmer until, this is a bit like sauce, until enough water has gone out of it that then we can bottle and seal it. So I actually seal and bottle in preserving jars, the Bacola jars, and I find, I'll show you as I go, but yeah, that's actually what I put them in. And I find that these 4-inch size jars do us well if we want it for lunches and snacks, or if I'm using bologneses and pouring it in, I know I either need half a jar or a whole jar for the quantity of food that I make. So measurement wise, it's good, it's practical, good for a large size family. So Paul's here. So whenever we make things, there's always those who help and there's always interruptions. So Paul cut his finger early this morning when we cut the tomatoes for the relish, and so now he's bathing in some salt water because it's near bedtime. So always need to remember as a mum, you've got to keep tally of how many teaspoons of different ingredients you've put, or cups, into your pans. Otherwise you make a mistake and you don't know what you've done. But that's the fun side, isn't it? So there you go. And I'll finish putting some ingredients in. How much sugar do we need? Oh. Can you read what that says? What number is that?
2.
What does that say? LB. Do you know what LB means? It means pounds. 2 pounds. So this recipe is Old English, so, or old system of measuring. So yeah, so we need 2 pounds of sugar. Shall I get the scales out and weigh it? Yeah. Let's go. Now where are they? Alrighty, so I've weighed out the rest of the ingredients and here it is. I'm about to put the gas on and wait for it to come to the boil and then let it cook for the hour. Let's go. So here we go, they're boiling away. This one started off first, then the big one, and then these last 2. And yes, there's a yellow blob in there. I find relish is a bit like jam. With the dollop butter in there, it just helps stop the frothing. So I'll pop it in and stir. So here's the relish all boiled down. About ready to be bottled. I've boiled the kettle, which I'm going to use to heat up the preserving jars. So I'll do into these jars just to preheat it. And then sometimes I will puree the relish to some extent in the Thermomix just to get some of the lumps and bumps out. And then I just reheat it and bottle it. Just heating up the jars. So nice and hot. I won't crack. And helps keep the temperature up so they seal well. So here's the first quarter round. Push out. I'll leave it as going to keep them warm for now. So I've already heated up the first row of jars and empty them out. Go across. I have a special funnel and start to drop it. There were 2 pounds of tomatoes in here. I was trying to remember how many jars it made. 1, so now put it down. 1, 2. And I'll put it over on a towel that they can sit for 24 hours to just seal and cool right down. And here are the jars of relish. So I finished bottling them last night, sealing them. And now was to leave them for 24 hours. So they're halfway there. We got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16 jars there. So now you've seen how to make relish over here. I'll pop the recipe down below if you're interested in using the recipe that we use. Hope you enjoyed it, got something out of it. And now all I've got to do, after counting those, is do another 4 batches and hopefully I'm set for the year. So till next time, from SA Riverland Farming with the Ollies.